Have you ever looked at a massive bridge or a sprawling new airport and just wondered, how on earth did they pull that off? We're going to dive into the world of massive engineering projects, the kind of high stakes ventures that literally shape our world, and explore why some succeed while so many others fail spectacularly. I mean, just think about it. From the complex subway systems digging deep under cities like Ankara to the incredible hydro dams in Venezuela, these aren't just construction projects. They are where human ambition and cutting-edge innovation collide. But, with that kind of grand vision comes an absolutely immense amount of risk. And that leads up to the big mystery, doesn't it? These projects have billions, sometimes tens of billions of dollars behind them. They've got the best engineers, the smartest managers in the world. So what's the deal? Why do we still hear these horror stories about insane cost overruns, crippling delays, and projects that just completely fail? Well, to crack that nut, we've got to get inside the heads of the managers who actually get it right. And here's the secret. It's not just about planning for what you think is going to happen. It's about building a defense against the stuff you can't even imagine yet. So, on one hand, you've got what we call anticipated risk. These are, the known unknowns. You can look at past projects, you can run all sorts of fancy simulations, and you can pretty much identify a whole list of things that could go wrong. The market could change, new regulations could pop up, you might hit a technical snag, you can make a plan for that stuff. But this is where things get really hairy. The real killer is something called turbulence. You see that gap? That's the danger zone. It's the space between all the risks you planned for and the total chaos that actually happens. These are the genuine surprises, the unknown unknowns that can completely wreck even the most perfect plan. This is where good projects go to die. Okay, so how in the world do you fight back? How do you prepare for risks you can see and the turbulence you can't? Well, the smartest managers, they don't reinvent the wheel every time. They start with proven blueprints, these widely used strategic models they call templates. And these are the battle-tested ways of setting up a project. We're talking about things like forming alliances with partners to share the load, or using special contracts where one company handles everything from A to Z. They're the go-to starting place in the project management playbook for a reason. They work. Yeah, here's the absolute best way to think about it. Templates are like the shared architectural blueprints for building a skyscraper, right? You wouldn't start designing a massive tower from scratch on a napkin every single time. Of course not. You'd start with proven structural ideas. And that's exactly what templates are for a megaproject strategy. But a blueprint is just a piece of paper. It's only the beginning. To actually build your defense system, you need tools and materials. And in this world, those are called devices. And this makes the difference super clear. If that template is your grand architectural plan, then the devices are all the individual tools, the specific materials, the nuts and bolts you use to actually build your strategy and make it strong. They're the actions that bring the blueprint to life. And believe me, the manager's toolkit is packed. A device could be anything from getting the whole team together for intense risk analysis sessions to creating partnerships where everyone shares the financial risks and rewards, or even just making sure you bring the bankers in right at the very beginning. Each one is a specific tool for a specific job. All right, so we've got our blueprints, the templates, and we've got a whole shed full of tools, the devices. So what's the secret sauce? What's the thing that actually leads to success? This is where the research gets really, really cool. You'd probably guess that the key is finding that one perfect blueprint, right? Or maybe there's one magic bullet tool that solves every problem. Is that what you're thinking? Well, the data says absolutely not. It turns out looking for that single perfect silver bullet strategy is a total waste of time. The real key to success is something else entirely. And boom, this is it. This chart is the whole story. What the researchers did was count how many different strategic devices each project used. They called it strategic scope. And the results are just wow. Look at this. Projects with a low scope, the ones using just a few tools, they had a 42% chance of success. Barely a coin flip. But look over at the high scope projects, the ones that used a wide variety of tools. Their success rate shoots up to an incredible 86%. That's not just a little better. That's a whole different ballgame. And there you have it, straight from the researchers themselves. It's the scope of your system, how many different tools you have in your belt and actually use, that's way more important than trying to find one single magic trick. It's about building a wide, comprehensive defense. So what does all this boil down to?
For anyone managing any kind of complex project, the lesson is actually pretty simple, but it's so powerful. You have to think about building a fortress, not just putting up a single fence.
At the end of the day, success on these giant projects, it isn't about some lone genius having a flash of brilliance, and it's definitely not about getting lucky. It's a methodical, disciplined process. It's about layering your defenses, using a ton of different tools to build a system that's tough, that's resilient, and that has the sheer scope to handle all the craziness that's inevitably going to get thrown at it. And that kind of leaves us with one last question to think about. Whether you're building a skyscraper or just trying to launch a new product at work, take a hard look at your own projects. Are you hunting for that one single silver bullet answer? Or are you taking the time to build a whole system? A system with the strategic scope it needs to actually win?